Hey, and welcome back to another video from my Vintage Tech Showcase playlist, the playlist of videos where I showcase older electronic devices in a form of retro style review. And what I have for you here today is the Nokia 8210, also known as the Nokia 8290 in the US, from the year 1999. So this is a 23-year-old phone that we are reviewing today in this retro style review. Now this particular phone, I got it in this port slot over here. Well, ports, or I wouldn't say ports, because most of those phones eventually started working. Anyway, a lot of phones, I think 9 of them, for $60. You can check that video out in that card above, and it's going to be on my channel as well. And this is the 8290, not the 8210. The 8290 is the US variant of the 8210. However, it is essentially the same phone. The only differences between the 8210 and the 8290 are the GSM bands. Everything else is exactly the same. So this phone was released in 1999, and fun fact, this thing was popular way into the 2010s, 2011s on 2G networks for people who basically just wanted a basic phone to use that's small, because this phone is tiny. Here's a 3390, aka the 3310. As you can see, it's a bit smaller than the 3310. It's much thinner as well. It feels overall very, very small. And there are a lot of people well into the 2010s who just wanted a basic tiny phone. And this phone used to sell for really high prices in the second-hand market because of this demand. However, since a lot of 2G networks started shutting down around the world, these phones had to be abandoned eventually. And in this video, we're going to go over everything you need to know in a retro style review about the Nokia 8210 or the 8290. I might keep mixing up the words, but it's essentially the same phone. Now, as usual, before we jump right in, don't forget to smash that like button down below, as it helps this video get on YouTube's algorithm. And also don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and ring that bell notification button to get notified whenever I upload a new video. I'm on Instagram, Discord, and Twitter, and you can follow me on those using the links down in the description below. And now let's jump right into this retro style review. So firstly, let's hover on this thing and we'll see what the startup screen is like. And I must point out that this thing is connected to the charger because the battery isn't too good at almost 23 years of age. Well, this is my battery in there, and I'm not sure how old that battery was. I got it from a different phone, but still, it's really, really old. So let's power this thing on. Nope, I keep forgetting that's not the power button. Okay, there we go. That's the power button up top. Bring it closer. So as you saw there was no Nokia startup screen, and that's because VoiceStream, aka the older name for T-Mobile, for their networks, they actually got rid of the Nokia logo and they put the VoiceStream logo. They could do that under special order from the manufacturer. VoiceStream, by the way, is what T-Mobile used to be called back in the day. So firstly, let's have a quick go around of the phone itself. Now, like I said earlier, this thing is a very, very tiny phone. It is very small, as you saw it when compared to the 3390 or the 3310, whichever you want. This is also the US variant of the 3310, which is the 3390. Like this thing is the 8290 instead of the 8210. So let's have a quick go around of the phone itself. So up front we have the speaker kind of in a gull wing kind of pattern. As you can see there, it looks like wings of a gull or just a bird in general. Or is that a gull? I don't know. The gull's wing goes back up like that. Either way, Nokia branding, the display, which is slightly, the plastic's cracked, but then this is an Express On cover. Like all older Nokia phones, the Express On covers, you can easily swap them out. The covers are available everywhere. You could get special edition covers at like sporting events, and Coca-Cola sponsored covers. More so for the 3310, but I'm pretty sure this got a few as well, like NFL, Coca-Cola, Sprite, whatever. At sponsored events, Nokia covers were handed out, I think for free for premium members and stuff. So that was these things were quite popular in the time. So the Express On covers, if you get a crack on it, no big deal. You just swap them out. They were pretty cheap as well. This is, however, the original cover on this phone. We have the top buttons like that. As you can see, the select buttons, the scroll button, the up and down buttons, accept call, cancel call. Going over here, it says voice stream here. Sometimes this area is empty on the 8210, but as this is the 8290, it says voice stream over there. Moving on to the side of the phone, as you can see, there's really nothing on the side of the phone. On the other side of the phone, you get the lanyard strap. As you can see over there, you get the lanyard strap and you get the volume buttons. Something the 3310 and 3390 don't have is physical volume buttons. This thing has physical volume buttons. And over here, there's like a window-like thing. This is something else that the 3310 doesn't have, and that's an infrared sensor. This thing has an infrared sensor where you can exchange business cards, exchange contact info with any other phone that supports infrared. Not just Nokia, any other phone that supports infrared, you can use to transfer information. You can also play two-player Snake, the game of Snake. You can play two-player Snake when you bring another supported phone close to it, and you can play Snake. So that's pretty nice, sort of a multiplayer for the game Snake there with the infrared port. You can also control certain, well, not control, you can connect this to certain printers and computers at the time to get printouts or connect them to computers. So the very, very useful IR transmitter slash receiver over there, especially to play Snake in multiplayer. Moving to the top of the phone, we can see the power button is a bit strange. It's kind of hidden in this thing like the power button. That's the power button. We have the button to release the back cover. Nothing much on the back there, on the top there. Moving on to the bottom of the phone, we can see that it has the dock connector over there, the 2 pins. We have the charger already plugged in, the 2.5mm headphone jack, as you can see there, and we have the microphone cutout as well. This is the old style barrel charger, as you can see there. The thicker barrel charger, not the slimmer one. Was it past 2007? I forgot which year the slimmer one came up, but that's the older style barrel charger. And at the back, we have Nokia branding and the another button here. Oh, this is the back cover button. Sorry, this is the express on button. So yeah, this gets rid of the cover. This is the express on button. This is the back cover button. All right, so that's the express on button. So you can easily take the cover off. Now, in terms of build quality, this is an old Nokia, and it is no different from the 3310. It's just the 3310 was more popular than this in terms of sales. This thing is also a tank, built really well with really solid plastic. Sure, it has a crack there, but hey, you just swap the express on covers, you're good to go. And there's a huge gap between the actual display and the body there. So if you smash the display, you're not actually going to damage the LCD. So as usual, Nokia engineering built to last for decades if possible. I'm pretty sure these things will work well into the 2050s, provided their batteries last. These things just don't quit. The 3310s, the older Nokias, even the Motorola's, Sony Ericssons, those phones just don't quit. If you treat them nicely and keep them, occasionally turn them on, they will work well into the 2050s, maybe the 2100s, because there's nothing much to go wrong on these things. There's barely any complicated electronics. It's a simple motherboard. I can think of the only things failing being some of the resistors and stuff, but those also look pretty nice on these phones. I took this one apart the other day. The components look perfect, so I don't know. These things are built to last, unlike modern day devices. So in terms of colors, this thing had 6 express on colors. Like I said earlier, these are the photos of the other colors, because I forgot them off the top of my head. These are the 6 express on covers you could buy separately, but I'm pretty sure there were custom covers, like I said, as well. And so on. Yeah, very tough built phone, just what you expect from Nokia in the late 90s and the early 2000s. The display on this thing is a 5-line monochrome display. Obviously, it is a basic monochrome display, monochrome graphic, 5 lines. You can also change the font size on this thing, so if you ever needed to change the font size, you can change the font size. So before we go into the interface, let's just go over some quick tech specs, and tech specs meaning just a few of the storage information stuff on that. Obviously, this has no memory card slot. It has 250 phone book entries, so you can put 250 contacts on here. And like I said, you can transfer those contacts with another phone with the infrared port. It has 10 dialed numbers, 10 received numbers, and 10 missed calls on its call records. And it has adequate memory for up to 8 voice dial numbers as well. It also can do 50 calendar notes. So that was basically the storage options that you had for this phone. Storage facilities you had for this phone in terms of phone book storage and stuff like that. Everything else obviously is no camera, no loudspeaker, no 3.5mm headphone jack. It does have the 2.5 that I showed you earlier there, so it does have a 2.5 jack, but everything else, nothing. In terms of connectivity, it just has your GSM, and like I said, it has the infrared port, which is really handy. Like I said, you can talk to a computer with it and a printer and get stuff printed out and transfer data between supported computers, contacts, calendars, whatever, and supported phones, and play the good old Snake game in multiplayer or 2-player if you may. It also supports 32 languages, so this phone was ready for international shipping. Nokia knew that this thing was ready for the world, and people would want this phone, and it's shipped in 32 languages. Now you must be like, hey, that's not a big deal. There are hundreds upon languages in modern phones. But hey, this was 1999. That was 32 languages on this thing was a big deal. This was 1999, not 2022. So 32 languages was a lot. So now let's just jump into the interface here, and we'll talk about the basic interface. Alright, so we're in the interface here, and I know the screen is a bit dim. That's because you cannot change the brightness on the LEDs, but you could see this thing in broad daylight because of the monochrome display. So that was a big thumbs up to phones back in the day. This is your basic interface. This is not Symbian, by the way. This is something Nokia used in all of their older phones. It's a proprietary interface that technically does not have a name, but it is what it is. So let's go up from the top. When you hit menu here, you get messages, you get call log, you get profiles, settings, forwarding, games, calculator, calendar, infrared port activated, and back to messages. So you have your bunch of 9 options there, as you can see there. And I know what everyone is saying, and let's go ahead and do it. Let's play Snake. There's no Nokia without Snake. And here's the 2-player option that I told you. Well, let's go select the 2-player option. See if the infrared. Oh, there you go. The infrared port is activated, waiting for another player. So that's nice. So oh god, I forgot how to play this. Come on, what are the controls here? Instructions, aha, because it's different on the 3310. You can play Snake with these buttons on the 3310. Make the Snake longer. Oh, here we go. So the food keys are 2, 4, 6, and 8. So 2, 4, 6, and 8, sort of like a WASD pattern there. 1 player. Okay, I'm playing with gloves, so it's a bit, oh god. Let's try that once more. But yeah, I trust me, I was really good at Snake on the 3310. Oh my god, yeah, I don't have, let me just get at least one. Oh god damn it. I was good at Snake, trust me. When I was a kid, I was really good at Snake. Why does this guy seem to be moving a bit faster? I guess I'm getting old here. Aha, there you go. Level. Oh, much better. I'm old, so I don't have the what's that, dexterity? No, the reaction time of when I was like 15. So yeah, much better. So yeah, that's your old school Snake, as you can see there. I have time to actually react. That level was, I'm pretty sure I can actually play that level after I played this for a while. So yeah, that's Snake, and I hope that Space Game is on here. Is it? Nah, they don't have the Space Game. Is it Logic? No. Space Invaders. I forgot what that game was called. I'll put it up there. That you gotta defeat monsters in space. That was a nice game. But yeah, that was the interface on, well, that was the games on the Nokia 8210. Now let's go on to other stuff. We had call info, profiles. The previous owner has named his profile Moop, pager, normal, whatever. So those are the profiles. Settings, we had a bunch of settings underneath there, as you can see. Just your good old basic Nokia stuff. You remember all of these. These were standard in the industry back in the day. This layout was the golden standard for mobile phones, and they used the same thing in more premium phones like the 8890, which I'll do a video on very soon. The 8890 and the 8850, more premium phones. So this layout actually worked really well. The only difference between a lot of phones and this is that this has the infrared reader, and I think there are a few other Nokia phones that also had the infrared. Usually that's just 8 options, but this one has 9 with infrared. And we have the call logs and messages and stuff there as well. What else? We got also the basic calculator, very handy back in the day. We had a basic calculator, we had calendar, and the infrared as well. So another thing that I want to mention is the battery life on this thing, because there is no Nokia without mentioning battery life. The battery life on this thing, now, firstly, the battery on this thing, initially it shipped with a BLB-2, so Nokia BLB-2. What have I put in this thing? I've put a BLD-3. So BLD-3, the original one was a BLB-2, identical, but they're just slightly different from each other. So now in terms of battery performance, the values I got online don't seem to make a lot of sense. A lot of websites on average are saying it has a standby time of around 150 hours and a talk time of around 2 to 3 hours or 3.5 hours roughly. I don't think those values are accurate. This thing could last way more than 2 to 3.5 hours and standby time of 150 hours. Some of these phones have charged after years of not being used. I refuse to believe that this thing has a standby time of a mere 150 hours. So that, I think that's just nonsense. So those websites got some stuff wrong. Assuming standby time, give it a good estimate, 350 hours. A talk time of around 5 to 6 hours easily. I doubt it. Those values are accurate. But let me know down in the comment section if you had one of these and what were your battery performance numbers at the time, if you did own one of these. Or you still, I mean, now it's a bad time to ask you that because the batteries are fried at this age. But back in the day, what was your experience with this phone? Let me know down in the comment section below. Overall, a very, very solid phone with the extra infrared port. This thing was a stable phone for a lot of people well into the 2010s as well. Like I said, people really loved its size, its great battery life, and it was just a good all-round phone. Sadly now 2G networks are being shut down across the world. I think T-Mobile still has a few networks up. I think they have one. Yeah, I think they have one 2G network up. I'm not sure. Let me know down in the comments. And some countries do have 2G, but still 2G is dying off. And phones like these are no longer really practical. But hey, back in the day, these things were the workhorses of society in terms of communication. Nokia 3310, 3390, whatever, the 3290, I keep calling it the 3290, 3210, and every other great phone that Nokia made. Nokia, Sony Ericsson's, Motorola's were the workhorses of the industry, but sadly Nokia is no longer at the top. They're nowhere near the top actually. It's Samsung, Apple, and Chinese manufacturers now. So, but yeah, Nokia has, they do still have potential to come into the market again, but they should start doing it really fast because the phones they make these days are honestly pretty boring. But that was not the case about 23 years ago. They made some amazing phones, and I don't really have to tell you that because you know that. This particular phone is made in Korea. Let me turn it off. Let me turn this thing off. Let me get the battery out. Yep, this one is made in Korea. It's not made in Finland or anything. This one is also made in Korea. But phones mainly that went to Europe were made in Finland, Hungary, and stuff like that. Phones that came to the US, Korea, and Brazil. Nokia had a factory in Brazil as well. And I think a few factories in Mexico as well. So they had a myriad of factories across the world. Anyway, This was the retro style review of the Nokia 8290 or 8210, whichever what you want to call it. A great phone from 23 years ago. Definitely a memorable phone that Nokia created. A tank of a phone with amazing battery life, and a phone that lasted well into the 2010s for some people, as many comments I've seen said, and I think it says so on Wikipedia as well. But I saw a lot of comments, people well into the 2010s saying, I'm still using this phone. So easily a legendary phone. And that's just no questioning it. This phone and many other Nokia phones were legends of their time. Either way, that's the end to this video, and as usual, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a big thumbs up down below on the like button, and also if you really like this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and ring that bell notification button to get notified whenever I upload a new video. I'm on Instagram, Discord, and Twitter. Thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next video.